the Holocaust, the worst thing that probably ever happened in human history, right? 6 million Jews killed, millions of others killed as well, but the bulk targeted because of their faith, because of their heritage. And we all said, I mean, growing up, it was understood, never again, right? You heard that message. It was emphasized. We all kind of knew that. I mean, of course, it could never happen again. But history is repeating itself. And the same things that happened in the 1930s in Germany, you know, it didn't start overnight with gas chambers and ovens. It was a sustained and systemic campaign of harassment that escalated. And right now in America, this is the precursor potentially for, I'm not going to say the word, but things are looking incredibly bad. Yeah, this is how it starts. And if Joe Biden gets reelected, who the hell knows what's going to happen? You tell me, how can this be tolerated this day and age? Where is the federal government? Where is the outrage?
Yo, remember the piece of shit. Remember the 7th of October. Never forget the 7th of October. That will happen. Never forget the 7th of October. One more time.
Those masked barbarians are saying 7th of October every day. Like that horrible atrocity was a good thing. This is everyday stuff. Everyday stuff in America now.
Raise your hands if you're a Zionist. 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 This is your chance to get out. This is your chance to get out. Okay, no Zionists, we're good. Woo! No Zionists here.
Raise your hand if you're a Zionist. Okay, granted, I'm not on the subway train, okay? What would have happened if somebody dared raise their hand? This is terrorism. This is you conform or we're going to do something violent to you based on your beliefs, actually based on who you are. And this is not ending. And you notice Democrats are silent. I mean, yeah, it was hot a couple of weeks ago when the things were happening on campus, but it's still going on in the streets. Next. Yeah, just a couple of hundred people gathering in front of the New York Stock Exchange, one of the premier financial locations in the world, to call for the death of Israel. Just another day in New York City. Just, you know, it's another weekday. What's next?
Let me walk around.
But you can walk through us.
We're here. Don't get in my way.
A Jewish man not allowed to pass because he's Jewish. And this is actually fashionable right now for the far left. October 7th, it was warranted. And Jews, Zionists must be, you listen to the rhetoric, they want them dead. And what does it mean when you hold up the flag of Israel with blood on it and in tatters? What's the message there? They want to eradicate Israel. Death to Israel. This is their mantra. Another thing that happened here in New York, actually, a woman who runs the Brooklyn Museum. The terrorists didn't like an exhibit that was at the museum, so they paint her house in red, calling her a white supremacist and a Zionist. This is terrorism. So this is what you desperately need a government for, right, to protect us. Where are they? Especially a guy like Merrick Garland, the Attorney General. You know, maybe this was just a bid to gain sympathy. Last fall, he spoke so powerfully about, well, his Jewish grandparents and what happened to them.
My family fled religious persecution in Eastern Europe at the start of the 20th century. My grandmother, who was one of 5 children, born in what is now Belarus, made it to the United States, as did 2 of her siblings. The other 2 did not. Those 2 were killed in the Holocaust. And there is little doubt that but for America, the same thing would have happened to my grandmother.
I wonder what they would make of you right now, Attorney General Garland, because you're not doing a damn thing to protect the people. You're not, all right? You've been consumed with MAGA, with undermining a political movement. Anti-Semitism, You've tolerated it. You've accepted it. You've looked the other way because these maniacs, these terrorist-supporting barbarians are supporting Joe Biden, although probably not anymore. So you guys still are losing. White supremacy, that remains their priority. From day one, they came in. It wasn't about white supremacy. It was about lying to the American people.
I will supervise the prosecution of white supremacists and others who stormed the Capitol on January 6th, a heinous attack that sought to disrupt a cornerstone of our democracy. Only a small number of perpetrators were arrested in the tumult of January 6th itself. Every day since, we have worked to identify, investigate, and apprehend defendants from across the country. The top domestic violent extremist threat comes from racially or ethnically motivated violent extremists, specifically those who advocated for the superiority of the white race.
All right, where are they? Where are the arrests? What's going on? Why haven't you done anything about it? You can't do anything about it because it's not a problem. It's not a thing. America despises white supremacists. White people despise white supremacy. There are about 4 of them in the country. Half of them are in jail or in. It's not a thing. It's all an effort, right? They want to misportray MAGA. I am MAGA. All of us, we are white supremacists, right? Donald Trump is running a far-right movement that is a threat to democracy. It is a lie. And as they prioritize this lie, they are foregoing our Jewish and brothers and sisters under attack. They're blowing it off, and they're allowing it to happen. So Merrick Garland did something that I didn't notice how bad it was at first. You saw his testimony last week, which was catastrophic. And then he doubles down. He writes an op-ed for the Washington Post. Cabinet members don't write op-eds all that often. Does he talk about all the anti-Semitism? No, he talks about how much he is under attack, and in doing so, he lies all over again. Take a look at this. The Justice Department is under attack like never before. Number one, that is actually not true. The data does not back that up. The Justice Department, they went through the 70s. They went through a lot of bad things have happened to good people at the Justice Department throughout the years, okay? This is not one of those times. He's lying again. We have seen an escalation of attacks. They are baseless, personal, and dangerous. Now, it's interesting. He's playing a game here. Maybe he learned this at Harvard. Attacks. What does he mean by attacks? I hate attacks. There should be no violent attacks, no violent threats. He's saying that criticizing them is an attack. Yeah, these attacks come in the form of threats to defund particular department investigations. Most recently, the special counsel's prosecution of the former president. Hey, you guys were allowed to say you wanted to defund the police, right? Remember that? The left? Joe Biden actually endorsed that. Defunding that weirdo Jack Smith's office, the guy from The Hague, that's not an attack, all right? You're allowed to say these things. And the way they're trying to portray us, that's the dangerous part. Let's see here. They come in the form, the attacks, of conspiracy theories crafted and spread for the purpose of undermining public trust in the judicial process. These people are going to say with a straight face what's a conspiracy theory and what's not a conspiracy theory, right? The Wuhan virus started in a delicatessen. Hunter Biden laptop came from Vladimir Putin's KGB. Next, those include false claims that a case brought by a local district attorney and resolved by a jury verdict in a state trial was somehow controlled by the Justice Department. Again, he says us saying this, which is truth, is dangerous. It's not dangerous. And they hide behind the jury verdict. A jury verdict. You know, I think a jury actually let those guys go who beat up Emmett Till back in the day, right? Oh, a jury decided, huh? They come in the form of efforts to bully and intimidate our career public servants by repeatedly and publicly singling them out. And that reminds me, to single out and criticize and make fun of, what's his name? Matt Colangelo. all right? That guy who was your number 3 man at the Department of Justice, who totally bizarrely, except if he's running a scam against President Trump, leaves the DOJ, goes to the Manhattan DA's office to become some local assistant district attorney. This is rotten, okay? And it's okay to single this guy out, and I can say whatever I want about him, and so can you. We think he's political. This is not dangerous. You may not like it, but let's see. They come in the form of false claims that the department is politicizing its work to somehow influence the outcome of an election. You see? Don't do it. They're doing it, and then they say calling them out is somehow dangerous. It is absurd and dangerous that public servants, many of whom risk their lives every day, are being threatened for simply doing their jobs. You have just said, sir, that criticizing your work, suspecting what is obviously a political operation as such, is a threat, and it's dangerous. They're going in a dangerous direction. They are gearing up to shut us down, and we can't let that happen. We have to be vigilant. Disagreements about politics are good for our democracy. They are normal, except if you make really good points about us and you catch on to our act. Continued unfounded acts against the Justice Department's employees are dangerous for people's safety. Give me a break. They are dangerous for our democracy. This must stop. Hey, nobody wants anybody to get hurt, okay? But you got a lot of people, and they're not elected, and they're doing things that we believe are damaging to America. And stop with the hyperbole that this is the worst thing that ever happened. You want to see some bad things that have happened? I'm going to show you. Federal judges have been targeted, well, since we first had federal judges. And almost always, it's some mad defendant, some mad guy in the court who has a personal beef with the judge. It happens. It happens every so often. I wish it didn't, but it does. It's sad. It's why we have the U.S. Marshals. That list goes on, by the way, for about, 60 or 70 more judges. How about, an assistant U.S. attorney? He was gunned down. Horrible tragedy. They haven't figured it out yet. Happened shortly after 9/11, allegedly carried out, again, by a paid hitman, but it remains a mystery. What about the FBI? Yep, the FBI has been targeted. It did happen. A guy with a nail gun, okay? And they try to say, well, this is a direct result of MAGA. Well, no. These things do happen, and it's regrettable, but it does. Now, you could say, well, that's right-leaning, whatever. No, it's random. There's no particular pattern. Maybe there is, but I'll tell you this, it's not MAGA, all right? You got to cut it out with that stuff. You're the dangerous ones for saying that we are dangerous. Jack Smith, I don't like him. Defund him. Is that dangerous? It's not. Alvin Bragg, he's taking orders, we believe, from Joe Biden. And you, maybe you didn't do it expressly, a wink and a nod, perhaps. Something is rotten. Everybody knows that's a phony verdict.